Broncos country, what is up? It's been about a day since we signed Dre Greenlaw or so. Wanted to let all the other dudes hit your algorithm. But now it is time for the Kodiak Broncos podcast to talk about Dre Greenlaw. And let me just say, I am so pumped about this, okay? I am so excited for Dre Greenlaw because he was the number one guy that I wanted the Broncos to get this upcoming free agent period. If you were just like, well, Kodiak, all right, the Broncos can only get one free agent. Who do you want them to get? I would have said Dre Greenlaw. And primarily, that is due to the fact that, yes, inside linebacker is not usually something that you want to draft and, be relying upon a younger dude to take the reins because it's such a hard position to, evaluate to the NFL, especially when with our other needs like running back, like tight end, like safety, like interior defensive line, need some depth there. There are a lot of dudes in the first round who could be drafted by our team. I wouldn't be surprised if we took any of those four positions in the first round, but inside linebacker is something that this team needed for their Super Bowl contention window. And I'm just really, really happy that we were able to make it work. So well done, front office. I got to give a huge mile high salute to George Payton and Sean Payton for making this happen. So he came into the league as a 5th round pick out of Arkansas. He really got going in 2021, or I think 2020, after the 49ers got absolutely decimated with injuries in the COVID year. That's when he really got his playing time. But next to Fred Warner in 2021, he really ascended into being one of the game's best. And the next year, he really took off. Had a really good year in 2023 as well. But this past year, he missed time due to that Achilles tear that he suffered running onto the field during the Super Bowl. But if you want to look at how 49ers fans feel about Dre Greenlaw, they will say that their defense is night and day without him. It's kind of like, if you guys are Nuggets or Avs fans, it's kind of like Valerian Nichushkin with the Avalanche. It's kind of like how Aaron Gordon was during the playoff run with the Nuggets 2 years ago. Like, those dudes just make the whole thing work. It's unforeseen prophecy. It's just unexplained. He just made the whole thing work. And yeah. So, speaking of 49ers fans, the way I very highly value, or the way I put a lot of stock into NFL free agents and how I would feel about if my team were to get them, I look at a lot of 49ers. I was looking at a lot of Chiefs, forums to see how they felt about Bolton. But I did this with Greenlaw over the course of the free agency period too. I looked at how their Twitter was feeling about him. I looked at how their Reddit was feeling about him. And let's just say they are depressed. They are so sad that they lost Greenlaw. They posted their, I want to die meme, and it's the 49ers mascot, all down bad and everything like that. But yeah, so 49ers fans, they are very, very sad that they lost this dude, which, you know what? That means me, as a fan of the team who just signed Dre Greenlaw, I am ecstatic. I am ecstatic for what he is going to bring to the Denver Broncos. So yeah, really, really happy to have you on board, Dre Greenlaw. Now, why did we sign Dre Greenlaw, or why was it such a big need? Well, the inside linebacker play in 2024, it needed upgrading. I will say, Barton and Sternad, they both had good years compared to the expectation of them coming into the year. But ultimately, if you had asked me coming into last year, I said it would have been probably the worst inside linebacker room in the league. And ultimately, we did get good play out of Barton and Sternad compared to our expectations, at least. I know that Barton was a decent middle of field coverage guy. He made some really nice plays here and there too. He intercepted Rattler, or was that Rattler or Hayner? I don't know. At the very end of the Saints game, he also intercepted Jameis Winston. He made some pretty good plays here and there, but we just needed more consistency over the middle of the field. Justin Sternad, he made me feel unholy thoughts in the past month of the year. I absolutely just could not stand watching him get ran past by opposing tight ends. Now, what I will say, in fairness to Sternad, he was never supposed to be on the field to begin with, and he was kind of starting due to our cap situation. So I forgive you, Justin Sternad. It'll be interesting to see what happens with him. It'll be interesting to see if we bring him back. But one thing I do want to point out, I think the X factor now with this inside linebacker room, or one of them, is Alex Singleton. Because I thought that in weeks 1 and 2 last year, he looked pretty dang good. In 2023, I really was not happy with his play at all. He was bottom 5 in pretty much any individual coverage stat. There was a really good article by Zach Stegers that I saw last July that I revisited where it talked about how Alex Singleton was most 4th in most yards given up amongst linebackers, 3rd in receptions given up by linebackers, highest missed tackle rate in the league. And even though he got a lot of tackles, it didn't change the fact that his quote-unquote batting average in that regard was pretty low. But I'm uncertain about his future because Alex Singleton is going to be 31, 32 years old coming off the ACL tear, and this coaching staff clearly likes him, considering that he has been the green dot dude over the past 3 years, and he's survived through a coaching change, but I'm uncertain about his future. We'll see what happens, but we didn't see enough of Drew Sanders or Lavelle Bailey in real game action to make an evaluation, but yeah. So as far as the skill set on the field, what does he add? Well, what I will say, he is our best rostered inside linebacker since Danny Trevathan. Do you guys remember him? He was an absolute beast during our Super Bowl 50 year. And, we've needed a middle of field playmaker who can cover. Because if you watch Dre Greenlaw, you're going to notice forced incompletions, forced fumbles. And that is something that's sorely been lacking at our inside linebacker spot. We've had guys here and there who can, be passable and get the job done. But we haven't had a lot of heat seekers. We haven't had a lot of guys who want to take the football away. We haven't had a lot of guys who can, intercept the opposing quarterback consistently. And I just want to bring this up now because it's not mentioned anywhere in my video. The 49ers win the Super Bowl 2 years ago if Dre Greenlaw does not go down with the Achilles tear, because the Chiefs could not move the ball at all. And then what happened? Well, Travis Kelce finished the game as the leading receiver because they were peppering his replacement, Greenlaw's replacement in Oren Burks. Now, shout out to Oren Burks. He did flip the narrative this past year because he actually was able to prepare adequately when he was with the Philadelphia Eagles to be the inside linebacker too. But the difference between Casey winning the Super Bowl last year and then not winning it this year was Zach Bond didn't tear his Achilles running out to the field in the first half. So Dre Greenlaw is just never going to come off the field for us. He's a true 3-down inside linebacker. And, when you have a guy like Travis Kelce on the other team, yes, I know he's on the tail end of his career, but, the Chiefs always seem to have some tight end magic. Same with the Raiders now with Brock Bowers. And the Chargers are probably headed in the direction of a first-round tight end if they do not sign Evan Ingram. So a true coverage linebacker was necessary for this team, just because it seems like the AFC West, it always gets insane coverage linebackers. And I can't emphasize this enough. 49ers fans said he made the whole defense work. It was night and day how they felt about him when he was on the field versus when he was off the field, because or not how they felt about him necessarily, but the play was a substantial drop-off. The entire unit dropped off substantially. So, yeah, a key stat I have for y'all is he was our best linebacker in 2023, or he was the best linebacker in the league in 2023 in completions allowed over expectation. So he, I think, allowed 9 completions under expectation, which was great. It was by far the best in the NFL that year. So, yeah. Is there some risk? Yes. He did play a limited amount of snaps this past year. I think he only really played in 2 games, and then he sat out the rest of the season because the 49ers weren't going anywhere. But I'm okay with it because this strength and conditioning staff, because they have kept dudes healthy so well over the past 2 years, they've earned a reclamation project. And I'm not here to say that Dre Greenlaw's ability is a reclamation project, but, will he hit that pre-Achilles form? It is a question. But I think he will. There is a lot of risk here. 3 years, $35 million indicates that his market may not have been as substantial as a guy like Sherwood, as a guy like Bolton. But it's important to remember that the 49ers, their training staff, they don't know what they're doing. They have a prolonged training issue when it comes to their players. And I can understand if they had 1 year of bad luck, like the Ravens did 4 years ago or something like that. At that point, that's just unlucky. But when it happens year after year after year, it's just something systematic. And, you got to look inward at your strength and conditioning staff, because look at that running back room. It gets gutted every year too. Same with their, other skill position dudes. And it's really painful. But I think that with a good strength and conditioning staff, with a guy like Dre Greenlaw, who's still theoretically at the age where he should perform at close to peak level, that he can be really, really good. So here's our inside linebacker situation after signing Greenlaw. So Greenlaw will be on the field early and often. Once again, I hope he elevates us to new heights, and I think he will. We needed to get better on third downs, and I think that he will be the difference in, allowing all those completions over the middle that we did in our losses. Drew Sanders, this guy's a complete wild card, but Dre Greenlaw is a fantastic mentor to Drew Sanders. It reminds me, do you guys remember 2018? We drafted Cortland Sutton to pair with Emmanuel Sanders. They both went to SMU. So Greenlaw and Sanders are both going to have a connection there. This is getting kind of confusing because I just talked about 2 Sanders, but he's going to be a great mentor to Drew Sanders. Now, I know the Achilles tear is going to be something that they could potentially bond over because Dre Greenlaw and Drew Sanders probably tore their Achilles like a month or two apart. So they're not alone in their recovery, and having a savvy inside linebacker veteran presence like Dre Greenlaw, who is actually good, is going to be fantastic for Drew Sanders. Now, Alex Singleton, I expect him to remain on the team. The coaching staff clearly likes him. Like I said, he's survived through coaching change as well. Despite the fact that I didn't really like what we saw in 2023, I think even though he is owed $5.6 million, and you save $5.6 million if you do end up releasing him, I think he's going to be on the team next year. I think that even if they force him to take a pay cut, there's just no way that they're going to move off of Singleton, at least at this current point. But do we draft a guy? Do we draft a guy like Schlesinger? Do we draft a guy like Bassa? Do we draft a guy like Lindenberg? I'm not entirely sure. That is very well within the realm of possibilities for the Denver Broncos to get a long-term solution there, depending on how they feel about Sanders. But yeah, so Dre Greenlaw, you are going to be an absolutely amazing member of the Denver Broncos. I'm very happy to have you on board, and I've got to give you a huge mile high salute. So I'll see you guys next time, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Peace.